For that, sir. Right, CP Gurnani is with us now, CEO of Tech Mahindra, one of India's largest IT companies. Sir, very good to see you. A quick line from you, first of all, on the Fed. And what struck me was this emphasis on the global economy and the emphasis on the downside risks in the global economy. Does that bother you?
Look at it from two parts. Number one is Fed not changing the interest rate signals that they want U.S. exports to be more competitive. Similarly, softer currencies in different parts of the world, whether it is Europe, Australia, Japan, it clearly shows is that both for U.S. and the West, it is important that they focus on costs, they focus on productivity, and they focus on unit, measurements. So I strongly believe that for Indian IT, it's a very, very positive step because both US and Europe would work and strive harder to become more competitive in the international marketplace. And we typically get in to help companies become more competitive.
But Tech Mahindra does have the highest sensitivity towards rupee depreciation. It has been depreciating. What's been the net impact on your margins?
I think, again, to me, a lot of my costs are also in the local countries. So, for example, if I have 55% of my business coming from US, I do have a fair amount of my costs also in US dollars. So yes, to the extent where I have rupee costs, I am benefited, and it does impact my margin, and it gives a positive impact. But at the same time, if my Australian currency, which was 0.9 to a dollar till a few months ago and now is 0.7 to a dollar, it impacts negatively also. But net, yes, it is a positive impact.
And if there is a positive impact, where in the company are you deploying those savings?
Really, where my research and development is going right now is every corporation, every city, every country that I deal with is talking about digital transformation. And all my R&D dollars are going into making enterprises or governments more digitally enabled. And we are happy that we are working on Internet of Things. We are happy that we are looking at, smart cities, smart nations. And trust me, it is a very, very complex issue, and it has got no finishing line. When you always have a more to do, it is like you thought that ERP pricing in Singapore was one step. Now you want to make it two-way. A two-way communication. Tomorrow you may want to make it three-way communication.
It's a constant evolution.
That is right.
Let's get back to business. How would you characterize the second quarter?
I would say is that it's like any other journey. It is a good journey. We have had a good, decent tailwind, and overall IT sector demand is only increasing. And overall, the technology spend in the business is showing growth signs, because as you see the world adopting more and more to e-commerce, mobile commerce, more and more to Internet of Everything, I think it is just natural that the technology spend will increase.
Let's talk about deal flow, because in the previous quarter, it was in the region of $400 million US, the highest in 7 quarters, strong number. How would you characterize the pace of deals this quarter? Is it going to match what we saw in the prior, or is it going to surpass it?
Again, we typically shy away from giving any kind of a forecast. All I can say is that in enterprise business, I have two major lines of business. One is communication or telecom business, or the enterprise business. Enterprise business is showing a lot more positive traction, despite of the fact that the China currency does impact a part of my portfolio. For example, my mining portfolio gets impacted. Commodity pricing dictates what the mining sector would look like. Similarly, oil and gas sector. But in general, I would say is that communication sector is looking healthier. Enterprise sector is looking healthier. In communication sector, there is a lot of catch-up happening, but overall the deal flow is good.
Let's talk about that. The communications industry in Europe. We're seeing a fair degree of consolidation over there. Does that generate any opportunities for Tech Mahindra?
Yes and no. And the reason I'm saying yes and no is that, for example, BT buying EE is clearly an opportunity because it's a plug-on asset. Whereas some other assets, if there are two similar classes of assets come together, and if we were a principal supplier to them, only one system will survive. And in that case, yeah, we would also lose business. But overall, I would say is that when new businesses get merged, there is an opportunity, and net-net, it is a positive for us.
There are some synergies. Sir, we have to leave it there. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time today. CP Gurnani, the CEO of Tech Mahindra, joining me just now.